I'm pleased to yield 2 minutes to the distinguished gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Kinzinger.
Gentleman's recognized for 2 minutes.
Well, I thank the gentlelady for yielding. This is a confusing amendment to me because looking at what we want to do, I haven't talked to really many people that don't think that Iran isn't a bad actor in the region. It's really almost impossible to find anybody except somebody in the Iranian regime that would say that. This basically peacefully works with our partners to say, hey, let's find a strategy to counter this terrible activity, this terrible regime. Cyber defense, working together for intelligence. What do we do to come together with our friends to make sure we can counter these destabilizing activities? If this amendment would pass, it would hand a victory to a few people. It would hand a victory to Russia. Russia that has invested a lot in propping up the Assad regime and working with the Iranian regime to do so. This would be a huge victory to Bashar al-Assad, who's killed 500,000 of his own people simply because he wants to stay in power. 50,000 of those are children, by the way. Many of those gasped their last breath on chemical weapons. This would be a victory to Hezbollah, who has 150,000 rockets aimed at our best ally in the Middle East, Israel, that's worried about their future. This is the same Iran that calls Israel Little Satan and the United States Big Satan. And this would be, of course, a huge victory for Iran itself. This is a nation that is responsible for almost a quarter of American deaths in Iraq that I actually operated against. A quarter of the American deaths in Iraq. I would think it's pretty good to counter that. So ultimately, this makes action, military action, less likely, because we're working with our allies to do what we can to prevent actions by this regime that will make war more likely, as we saw in the escalating situation between Israel and Iran just a week ago. Mr. Chairman, thank you for yielding the time. I urge my colleagues to resoundingly defeat this amendment, and I yield back my time.
Gentleman yields back.